Did you know that the world's happiest country, a place where people measure success, not by money but by happiness, hides a secret that no one talks about after dark? A tradition unlike anything else on earth, where a man quietly slips into a woman's house in the middle of the night. And it's not considered a crime, it's considered a language of love. Welcome to Bhutan. Hidden deep in the Himalayas, this tiny kingdom seems peaceful, spiritual, and pure. But behind its silence lies a story few outsiders have ever heard. They call it Bomena. To the rest of the world, it sounds like night hunting. But for the Bhutanese, it's an ancient form of courtship, a centuries-old custom that still survives in remote mountain villages. So, how exactly does this mysterious ritual work? Is it a daring act of romance, or a dangerous game played in the shadows? Let's find out as we uncover the untold truth behind Bhutan's most secret tradition. According to the Bhutanese, the secret to happiness isn't found only in meditation, nature, or Buddhism, but in a tradition so mysterious no one dares to talk about it after dark. This custom is so old that villagers say it existed long before we were born. Its name is Bomena, which in the local language means to secretly approach someone. Western researchers call it night hunting. The roots of this tradition go back to a time when there was no electricity, no phones, not even proper roads. Villages were isolated. People only met during the day while working in the fields, and talking freely between young men and women was considered shameful. But at night, that shame went to sleep, and Bomena came alive. When darkness fell over the Bhutanese mountains, a different world began. Men would quietly leave their homes, walking through the dark toward a girl's window. No knocking, no doorbells, just a soft tap on the window. If there was no sound from inside, that was the signal. It meant, you may come in. Some women waited for that sound. Others kept their windows tightly shut. But both knew the rules of the game. Because in Bhutanese culture, Bomena wasn't seen as scandalous. It was simply the most natural form of love. And if, by morning, a man was found inside that house, it wasn't shameful. It meant something had begun, a bond, a connection. And here's the strange part. Everyone in the village would know by sunrise. But no one would gossip. They'd just smile and say, "Ah, youth, destiny." And life went on. In old Bhutan, marriages were arranged by families. But Bomena gave the young their own choice. If a girl didn't want the man, she closed her window. If she did, everyone would know by morning. Some couples stayed together forever. Others shared just that one night. As one village woman once said, "We didn't learn love in school. We learned it through the window." But of course, it wasn't always romantic. There were risks. Some men went to the wrong house. Some families got angry. Some stories ended in laughter, others in fights or exile. Yet no one in Bhutan ever grew up without hearing about Bomena. An old Bhutanese man once said, "In our days, you could tell by a man's footsteps if he was out for Bomena. He didn't walk like a thief because his purpose was different." To outsiders, this might sound crazy, but in the mountain villages of Bhutan, it was simply normal. Perhaps the most fascinating thing about Bomena is that it's built entirely on silent agreement. No letters, no dates, no gifts, just eyes, silence, and courage. Maybe that's why it survived for centuries, because it expressed love in its purest, quietest form. And then, one day, these stories began to reach the outside world. Western journalists came to Bhutan and started asking questions. Some called it a form of exploitation. Others called it the most authentic kind of love. But the Bhutanese people only smiled and said one thing: "It's hard to understand our tradition from the outside. Why did this tradition last so long? And more importantly, why did women stay silent about it?" For centuries in Bhutan, relationships between men and women were shaped by Buddhist morals, village customs, and a deep sense of social balance. Women were powerful. Most homes were registered under their names, and inheritance usually went to daughters. But when it came to men, speaking openly was still taboo, and that's where Bomena came in. During the day, women might act shy, but at night, they had the final say. If they wanted to, they opened the window. If not, they closed it. They didn't have to say yes. They didn't have to say no. The decision was entirely theirs. Many researchers describe Bomena as a hidden space of freedom for Bhutanese women, a silent system that allowed them to choose in a world where choice was rarely given. But of course, there's another side to the story. Sometimes things didn't end well. Unwanted pregnancies, social pressure, and women who had no choice but to remain silent. That's Bomena's darker side. Even today, some families still defend it, while others try to erase it completely. Some parents even had their daughters sleep in rooms with no windows, just to keep the tradition away. But this was never only about love or rebellion. It was a language, a cultural way of saying the things that couldn't be spoken aloud. In Bhutan, emotions are often expressed through silence. A glance, a gesture, a window slightly left open. Then modernization arrived. Schools, electricity, paved roads. But in the mountain villages, the same old stories were still being told. Someone's window stayed open last night, and another was caught at sunrise. One of the most fascinating details is this: the Bhutanese government has never officially acknowledged this tradition. You'll never find it in textbooks, never hear it mentioned in the news, and yet everyone knows. It's an open secret, unwritten, but deeply understood. Today, young people in Bhutan are divided. Some call it the madness of the past. Others say it shouldn't die. And we all know why. Because behind that tradition lies something too human to disappear. Now, Bhutan's youth live in cities, scroll through social media, and text their crushes online. But in the villages, some windows still open at night. A Bhutanese anthropologist once said, "Bomena isn't just a love story. It's the hidden mirror of our society. No matter how much we change, in the silence of the night, we are still who we used to be." At first glance, Bomena seems like a simple love story. But look a little deeper, and you'll see it was actually Bhutan's most secret form of freedom. Bomena was a small doorway, opened in the middle of silence. When a woman unlatched her window at night, she was really saying, "This is my choice." Neither religion, nor the rules of men, nor tradition itself could interfere with that decision. So yes, Westerners like to call it night hunting. But what was being hunted in those nights wasn't love. It was power. The balance between freedom and restraint. In Bhutan's Buddhist culture, desire isn't repressed, it's controlled. Monks often say, emotions are like water. Don't block them, and don't let them flood. Let them flow, but choose their direction. Bomena was born exactly within that balance, neither forbidden nor fully accepted. It existed in the middle, a cultural agreement that let people express their feelings. without letting society fall apart. And here's the fascinating part. In the villages where this tradition began, relationships between men and women were actually more balanced. Some studies even suggest that regions where Bomena was common had lower rates of domestic violence than the national average. So this secret ritual wasn't just about love. It was about maintaining equilibrium, a silent balance that kept the society together. We talked a little about the darker side of this tradition earlier. But if we look a bit closer, things aren't as innocent as they seem. Some men took advantage of this custom. Some women stayed silent even when they didn't want to. And at that point, Bomena stopped being a quiet tradition and became a subject of national debate. Today, Bhutanese women see it through two different lenses. Some say it was part of our past, it gave us strength, while others quietly add, in that silence, there were women who suffered. And the truth is, both are right. Because Bomena was at the same time a symbol of freedom and the cost of silence. A sociologist once described it this way: Bomena is like the soul of Bhutan. From the outside, it looks peaceful, but inside, storms are raging. Maybe that's why Bhutan was never just a Buddhist paradise, because within that paradise, tradition, faith, and humanity have always been intertwined. As you can see, the world is far more mysterious than it seems. Every country, every village hides a story that was never told. If you love discovering forgotten traditions, hidden cultures, and the secret side of human nature, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, like this video, share your thoughts in the comments, and be the first to join our next discovery, 3-Dot Discovery, uncovering the unseen side of the world together.